My name is Robin O'Leary and welcome to Rope Coaching's YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue on the footwork theme, but we're going to be looking at pivoting and foot matching. Foot matching is something we see climbers do incorrectly all the time, and it's a lack of education. It's just what comes natural to them. Again, the security in the arms, but they're not focusing on the feet. So yeah, we're going to go through the common errors and then the skill of pivoting, because it's really important when foot matching, and then the key principles of how to foot match, the best ways, and then sometimes the tablecloth technique, which is the worst case scenario. So yeah, what we see typically with climbers when they go to the foot match is just they've placed their foot greedily on a hold and they go for a classic hop. And then it really comes down to that first episode when we're talking about how to place a foot. You have to place it with precision and accuracy. So again, even on a massive foothold like this, people hop. And you can see that my foot hits the wall and bumps and moves away. So immediately I've got less security than if I were to take some time and place it how I wanted it. So we'll do that on various holds, because sometimes, this is a huge foothold, and sometimes we're on smaller footholds that require a bit more accuracy, and therefore the movement's even more important. But when people hop, they'll see, you can even see the rubber scraping off the wall and the fact that my foot's further away than I'd want it. So that's classically what we see. And when we see it on smears and small footholds, that hop and that lack of precision can knock you off the climb. Cool. So one of the main principles of why foot matching in this way, the hopping way, is bad, is one, obviously for that lack of precision and accuracy, which we're going to get onto, but two is just the wasted energy. If you're constantly doing move after move, whether it's a sport climb or a boulder, you're taking the weight on the arms. So for example, in this position here, I'm on an overhang, so there's weight on my arms. I could be really relaxed and all the weight going through my feet, but typically you'll see climbers like this and then they hop. So during that hop, all of my weight is on my arms. Then when I go to do the match in that style, obviously I've lost that precision. So I'm gonna have more insecurity, and therefore more weight's gonna go through my arms. So just during this one move, I'm still gonna be burning so much energy. And it's really important that when we do place our feet correctly, we're trying to maximize that pressure going through the feet so I can be accurate, precise, but also efficient. Cool, so one of the really important techniques that we need to learn is about how to pivot. So I'm going to harp on about the precision and accuracy. So if you haven't watched that video, look in the description for the link below. But pivoting is really important because we need that ability to, one, move our body around for efficiency, but two, to create space. So on this yellow foothold, for example, it's pretty big. The ideal scenario when it comes to foot matching would be, I'm going to preempt the match. So I'm going to match this foot, I'm just going to leave space. That is the easiest and most efficient way to do a foot match. So I know I'm going to do it, I've preempted it with the root read, I'm just going to leave space. Super easy, really effective. Precision, accuracy at the foundations of that. I've placed one foot, I've left the space, I watch and place the other. Perfect. However, as we've seen in some of those previous clips, most people place with too much inside edge. Again, I'm going to go back to that first episode on footwork where people place too much inside edge. When they do that, because of the lack of precision, they've left the tip of the toe off the foothold. So if I were to pivot, I'm just going to slide down, trashing my shoes, but also coming off the climb. So placing their foot with accuracy is obviously really important. But being able to pivot not only controls my hips, which we'll look at in a further episode, but also allows me to have the flexibility of matching feet. So if I have placed my toe or foot and I haven't left space, which is really common, then I need to be able to pivot. So pivoting is simply being able to rotate on my feet. And it does still come back to that precision and accuracy. It doesn't mean that I've just slopped my toe on. I'm still going to place my foot, but I'm going to place it in the best part of that foothold. Same with my left foot. I'm going to place my foot, and I've been greedy. I've got all my weight going through them, but I may need to move my right hand, so I'm going to bring my right hip into play, or I may need to move my left hand, and I'm going to bring my left hip into play. Pivoting is essential in climbing. when it comes to the foot match, it's even more important because there's two main techniques that we're going to look at today that rely on pivoting and rolling. So we're going to have a look at that now. If I've placed my right foot like I just did, dominating this hold, most people will go for that hop, and you can see that I've missed the hold. But then people re-hop and replace, and they do all the bouncing and scuffing that we saw in that first episode. So if I want to be accurate, what I'm actually going to do, if we look at the pivoting technique first, so I'm going to place this foot, and I'm dominating the hold. I've got maximum security in my right foot, but coming into match here is going to be really awkward. So the technique of pivoting allows to create this space, opening of the door. If I keep pivoting, it's going to hit that little pinky toe and pull the big toe off. It's a pivot point. So I hit this point and it's going to pull the big toe off. Meanwhile, it's going to create the space for my other foot to come into play. And I've placed the foot and I've got full accuracy. I'm really happy and I'm confident in that placement. But all of my weight is down on my feet. My hands are super relaxed and I know I have full trust. The other technique that's really common is that we're going to roll the ankle to create space underneath it. I'll do that again. So I've placed the foot in a greedy way, but I'm going to roll my ankle so I create space underneath. So I'm going to place my foot, and this time I'm going to roll my ankle to replace. So we've looked at the two kind of key principles of foot matching, the twist or the pivot and the roll. I actually like to do a bit of a hybrid between the two, so I just thought I'd show you kind of the way that I do it. So you twist and pivot and then roll to create more space. It just means you can be more accurate and you have more space with the replacing foot. So coming down here, I'm just going to use this yellow for example, and I've been dominant with this hold. I'll twist and then roll, and I'll roll back on. And that's if I do it from this angle. As I pivot, you get a little opening of the door, and I need to place the foot on it. There's not much space. I can't just match the 2 feet because I'll be off the hold. So I'm going to roll on as I roll off. So again, I'm going to be dominant with this one. I'm going to pivot, then I'm going to roll the new one on as I take the other one off. So the hybrid between pivoting and rolling, in my opinion, is the best and my preferred way. So one of the main techniques people use, I refer to as a tablecloth, when they have one foot in place and then they just pull the other one. They pull the lower foot out and replace with the other one. Obviously the problem with that is you're not super accurate, but sometimes we come to holds such as like this blue, and on this one I could pivot and replace, and we'll show you that, but we'll still show you the technique of how to kind of use the tablecloth effectively. So focusing on this blue one down here, I may have used my right foot, for example, in this scenario really well, but I need to replace. And if I roll here, I'm going to reduce the contact area and slip off. So I may have to do this tablecloth of placing my other foot on the other one and then pulling away. And you can see it's actually really effective on a smear like this. So kind of like a spoon foothold in Fontainebleau. So I'm on the hold, I'm going to pull it away and replace. And you can see that the replacing foot still does a bit of a roll. So I'm rolling onto it. But sometimes footholds are so bad, you do need to do that tablecloth. I'm going to stay on this foothold because the final technique sometimes we have to do, very rare that we'll do this indoors just because holds are so good, is when you have to do a smear, and replace. More common on rock, and the foothold has to be really bad. Plus you have to have okay handholds to do this, but it's when you don't trust the foothold enough to even tablecloth because it's so small that you'll think you'll miss it. And then in those circumstances, I'm dominating a hold, I may have to smear and then replace to be confident in that second placement. So again, if I've dominated that hold and I'm not happy with the foot match with the tablecloth or pivoting, I may smear and then leave the time and the space to place my other foot perfectly with that precision and accuracy that's necessary. So I hope you've enjoyed that video on pivoting and foot matching. It's a really fundamental skill that you need to master. The best way, as always, is to practice climbs and consciously foot match on every hold. Do that for a kind of the whole warm-up, and you do that every session as a warm-up and a cool-down, and you'll soon master these techniques. Play around with all of them, see which one works for you. If you have liked, click like and subscribe for more content. We'll be back soon with more.